Jeannine, are you very excited? Because I usually say I'm very excited, but then again, that's usually when we're talking about movies that are pretty good. Do we think this movie's pretty good? I
Well, I
don't
mean,
know.
where most people, where the majority thinks they're pretty good. This movie, however, I don't know. People are saying a lot of not nice things about this movie.
They are. People are saying very cruel things about this movie. Are they justified? Are they not justified? We're going to get into it all today because we are here for a full spoiler discussion of Jurassic World Dominion.
Yes.
This time 5 days ago, no, not 5 days ago, this time last week, I had never watched a Jurassic World movie.
Yeah, you kind of were avoiding this legacy franchise for a bit. You were a fan of the original films, and then these movies came along, and you were just like, nope.
Pretty much. That is honestly, that's pretty much exactly what happened. But I'm looking forward to this discussion today. If you are watching, please say hi in the chat. We would like to hear what you have to say as well. But I think I think we'll just get straight on into it because I've had a pretty Jurassic World filled week.
You
I
have.
feel somewhat clear on what happens in the Jurassic World movies, or at least I think as clear as anybody can possibly be on
Well,
what
yes, we did.
happens.
We did a watch along with Jurassic World, the first film, a couple weeks ago, and then on your own, you did watch a Fallen Kingdom, and we discussed it
Yeah.
on one of our Monday shows. So, yeah, so you were kind of primed and ready for this movie. So, as somebody kind of new to the world of Jurassic World, how did you feel about it?
About this one in particular,
Yes.
I think I think what does this movie the world of good is to have that original cast in there.
Yes.
And I mean it does it the world of good.
Yes.
Because anytime Alan Grant, Ellie Sadler, Ian Malcolm are on screen doing their stuff, I am entirely in.
I
And
felt myself yeah, I
the
felt myself get a
majority of
snappy
the
stick.
time that Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard and the girl who I'm still not quite sure how she's actually a clone of her own mother when her mother actually gave birth to her, but we're not quite sure how she's managed to give
Yeah, the
birth to her
science of all
because
that
it's not
is
made any clearer at all.
no, not really.
Anytime they're doing stuff, it doesn't feel like a Jurassic Park movie. I don't know. Look, I am somebody who has been familiar with the Jurassic World movies for a week. I am very familiar with the Jurassic Park movies, so
Yes.
obviously I am going to be more inclined to be there for Alan Grant and Ian Malcolm and Ellie Sadler
Yes.
than I am for the other guys. Although I will say that this movie had an aggressively Chris Pratt scene in it, which was wrangling dinosaurs, riding a horse, wearing a cowboy hat.
Yeah, it was a lot. I mean, I
Which, oh
think these
my
movies
god, could it be
I
more Chris Pratt if it wanted to be?
I actually did a really fun a marathon of all of the films, with Brandon Hanna and,
Okay,
Sabrina, and yeah, it was when we got to these films, it was literally like, "Oh yeah, Owen Grady, so cool. Oh yeah, Owen
it
Grady." So
is.
every time they were doing something to just like show you how cool this guy was, like we were just making jokes about it. So, um, yeah, they had to have some scene of Owen Grady. Oh yeah, doing something cool because that's kind of what they've established with this character at this point. So,
It's just, it gets a little bit much, I want to say. I don't like being negative, Janine. I don't like being
oh, you
negative when
don't.
it comes to movies. I don't. I don't. I really don't.
You don't like
So
to, you just are.
I'm not
just
ah.
I'm just kidding. I'm just
I'm
kidding.
not ah. I am not. That doesn't make any
Looks like
sense.
you put on your surly old man sweater. say nice things about this movie.
Why have you got something against what I'm wearing now?
I'm sorry. It's just like 100 degrees here, and you're wearing like 20 sweaters, and it's just making me
I'm
feel
not
very
wearing
hot.
20 at all. I
Why are you
apologize.
wearing so many sweaters, Morgan? It's so hot right now.
I'm not there. I'm not there, okay? It's late
Yes,
for
fair enough.
me.
Very fair enough. Fair enough.
I hope it is fair enough. I hope it is fair enough. But yes. I don't know. I mean, general thoughts on Jurassic World Dominion are it. I think it's a more enjoyable movie than Fallen Kingdom was,
I agree.
but I almost wish that it had gone along with Fallen Kingdom's ideas a little more closer. Because I think the ideas that were brought up in Fallen Kingdom were really interesting. It's just the execution of them, I think, was poor.
Okay.
And this one basically does nothing to further the kind of black market auctions of dinosaurs. Or you get kind of shady underground dinosaur things going on in Dominion. But at that point is where Dominion feels like half a Bond movie and
Yeah, I
half a
mean,
Jurassic World movie.
would you call this a The Last Jedi Rise of Skywalker situation?
No, because I really like The Last Jedi. I really don't like The Rise of
No, I'm
Skywalker.
saying just in that there were kinds of interesting things set up in The Last Jedi, and then The Rise of
Oh,
Skywalker
yeah, a little bit.
didn't really kind of see those things through.
A little bit. Although I do think the execution of those interesting things was far better in The Last Jedi than it was in
Fallen Kingdom.
Fallen Kingdom.
Yeah, agreed.
And there was plenty of enjoyable things I found in Dominion. And I mean, from what I recall, there's few genuinely enjoyable things in The Rise of Skywalker that aren't just confusing.
Yeah.
Alan Grant makes the world of difference. They all make the world of difference, but Alan
all
Grant in
feel the same.
particular.
They all feel the same. They feel like the same people. They don't feel like they've changed too
100%.
much. Yeah. You feel like this is where
100%.
those characters would be right now in their lives. So, yeah, they definitely needed to be here to make this movie kind of sing a little bit more than it probably would have without them.
Yes, I think. Oh, absolutely. I think it would be being justifiably panned
Yeah.
if they weren't in it. To be honest, they really do. They don't save the movie because there's fun things.
Yeah.
There's still fun things going on. There's still interesting things going on. It just doesn't feel particularly worthwhile a lot of the time. It doesn't feel like they're doing anything different.
Yeah. I mean, for me in general, I think I grew up in probably one of the best eras for the big kind of, dumb in the kind way you say dumb, like summer
Yeah.
blockbuster, the movie that's just throwing everything but the kitchen sink at it, just, overblown, just kind of silly, off the walls, big summer goofy movies that you just can have fun with.
Yeah.
I grew up in that era. I remember summers going to the theater and seeing Mortal Kombat and having a blast with that. And, going to see a double feature of Con Air and Face Off at the drive-in and just having the best time. And seeing, The Rock and all these kinds of big overblown movies in the theater that, logic kind of has gone out the window, but you're getting a fun ride. And this movie felt like that for me.
Okay.
I had fun with kind of the silliness of it. I kind of was able to just turn off the logic button a little bit and like, do I really need to find too much logic in a movie that has dinosaurs in it? I mean, I had that kind of little bit of a, in, battle with myself and kind of like, do I really need to kind of think that deep into things? So yes, of course, there were some story beats that were just weird and didn't really make sense to the world that we've seen so far. Also, this movie was kind of advertised in a different way to kind of make you think you were going to get a different story. And that story seemed very interesting to explore. So when they didn't, I think maybe a lot of people, that's kind of where a lot of the negativities coming from. Hey, Billy,
Hello,
is
Billy in the chat.
is because people maybe were expecting a different kind of movie and got something completely different.
What do you
But
think that was? What were people expecting?
I think people were expecting a how is the world going to work now that we're kind of living, amongst
Yeah.
dinosaurs. Yes, it's Jurassic World. We're seeing the world. The mosasaurs swimming around in the oceans, and dinosaurs are grazing with cattle, and you know, campsites are getting attacked by these predators. How are they surviving in snow-like atmospheres because that's not the climate that they are used to? When wasteland, how are they getting food to eat for your you know animals who eat leaves and things like that? So how are police dealing with dinosaurs just walking across the road and causing accidents, and these flying dinosaurs that just come swoop down and can attack people? Like, how is the world dealing with living hand in hand with dinosaurs? So that's kind of what I feel like was put out there, and we got completely different stories. So I had fun with the stories that were presented to us, but the idea of what kind of the trailers were putting out there, what that kind of short film that Colin Trevorrow did, the Battle at Big Rock,
Yeah.
that was an interesting premise that I would have liked to see explored. So I can see a lot of people's disappointment that they didn't really get into those things. But kind of the story, I found fun things in it to enjoy. So
Yeah, I suppose the extent you do get of that is some news footage and the odd sweeping shot of dinosaurs running through the American plains and things like that.
yes, and
Which
a beautiful pun, Billy. Beautiful pun.
it
I
is, yes. Let's put
appreciate that.
Billy's pun on the screen here.
Yes.
Some stuff certainly came out of the Blue. Yes, Blue seems to be having a perfectly reasonable time herself, though. She's just off
Yeah.
in the forest. She's got a child of her own, Jeannine. How
Yes.
does Blue have a child of her own?
Her baby beta. Yeah. Just some of those little cracks they filled in the DNA with animals who can do things like that.
Don't think too much about the genetic science of Jurassic Park and
Yeah.
Jurassic World. Brandon in the chat says, yay, dinosaurs. Steve's also in the chat saying he was supposed to see it yesterday, but his plans changed. But wishes
so he
us a
hasn't seen it
great
yet.
stream.
Well, thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Steve.
Thank you, Brandon, for popping in.
Billy also says this should have been called Billy and the Clonosaurus 5. I mean, Clonosaurus wouldn't be the stupidest name they come up with, the dinosaur.
Yeah, they've had some
in
pretty
Jurassic
silly
World
ones,
movies.
I will say. But we did
Billy,
kind of...
you make a good point there. I also thought that. Billy says Maisie is Jesus, apparently. This is how she kind of came across to me. Like, it was never explained. So the whole point with Maisie is that she's this girl from Fallen Kingdom, right? Who's the supposed clone of the daughter, the human being clone of the daughter of the co-founder of Jurassic Park, who was James Cromwell.
Yes.
How the daughter became pregnant with her own clone is never explained in the slightest.
No, it's just she found this science and she was able to kind of cure this this degenerative disorder that she had and made sure that Maisie didn't have it. So
and I get that part of it.
This is science that could change the world.
Yeah.
So, but you're using it for Locust, like.
But yeah, exactly. The idea of there being a scientific genetic reason as to that she's found within herself that can cure ailments, I understand that. That was well explained enough. What wasn't explained enough is how she was pregnant with her own clone.
Yeah, they never really got into the science of that. Like, did she, like, because like I think they just tried to like explain it away. Well, like Blue could do it because she filled things in her DNA and blah blah whatever. But like you didn't do that. Is that what you did? Like
exactly. Like,
you didn't have
is
any
this what
gaps in your DNA. So like,
is this what Charlotte Lockwood was injecting herself with DNA of some sort of weird lizard?
yeah, I don't know. So yeah,
But it was
that
never
kind of
told.
no. And I don't think that was necessary. Like I think they could have kept her the clone and that would have been fine. Like the fact that I think because that and then I think that would have made her bond with Claire and Owen stronger because she's like, I don't need
Yeah,
to
these are my
have a mother.
parents.
I don't need to have a mother to feel like I, am a real person with my own identity. I have parents who love me and came all this way to find me and all of these things. And that would have been enough to sell that story point of her feeling like she found her family. But the fact that they still needed to throw this emotional beat in for her to make her feel like that she was wanted and she was loved by her mother and she had a mother. Like you didn't need that because you were already going hard on the point that Owen and Claire feel like her parents. So
Yeah, and
if she had
I
if
actually
she had
quite
finally come,
like
yes,
their
if she'd come to
bond.
the discovery that I didn't have a mother, I feel like just this weird thing. The fact that Owen and Claire did all of this to get to her, I think that would have been enough to just make her forget that part of her life and realize, no, I do have people that love me. And so they didn't need to go that extra mile to show that she had a mother and all of these things,
No,
I think.
I don't think they did at all. Billy also says no amount of science can immediately make humans reproduce asexually. I don't think it does. And this
Oh,
went Rise of Skywalker with the retconning. Hello, late to the party in the chat.
yes. Arnold did it in
Arnold did it in.
Junior.
He did.
Yes, Jurassic World Dominion has not entered Junior
It's
now.
very
Yes,
true.
yes. Yeah, I mean,
It still doesn't make any sense though.
So yeah, I mean, that kind of story stuff did kind of throw things off for me. Also, just Dodgson was just a ridiculous kind of villain and he was not great. And the relationship he had with Ramsey was just very weirdly established. And
Yeah.
so those were kind of like the worst parts of the film for me, just kind of the science stuff that they were very muddily explaining.
I like the concept though, and I suppose it's it's a usual concept, I guess, in Jurassic movies. It's somebody trying to control the world and play God a little bit, isn't it? And that's what kind of Dodgson's doing. He's making these locusts feed on everybody else's crop so he controls
so that they're
food.
reliant. So, and I liked that was the concept. That was the thing that was going to bring in our OG cast because, like, after everything they've been through, they've kind of are not really interested in going into the craziness of dinosaurs, even though it's kind of seeping into the world. They're still trying to like, I don't want to get involved. I've been there. I'm going to try to stay as separate from this as possible, which makes sense. So you would need another way that's not inherently about dinosaurs to bring them in, I think makes sense. So the locust thing and kind of the bigger picture of his locust destroying things so that people are dependent on him and, feels kind of like the whole things happening with pharmaceutical kind of things when you have a villain working in that vein of making someone dependent on your product type thing. So I get that kind of villainous storyline. So I didn't hate the locust concept. I thought it was kind of an interesting way to bring our OG cast in that didn't have to do with dinosaurs because they've kind of established themselves as people who kind of are not really happy with what has been happening with the dinosaurs since the first film. So I think it makes sense to, what they've experienced and how they would feel about dinosaurs and people still creating them and things like that and kind of keeping that separation.
Yeah,
so you would need
something
else to bring them in. So that I didn't hate the locust thing like most people kind of have been about, but
I do agree with that. And always a villain that wants to enact genetic control and that kind of stuff is always going to be interesting to me. You're always going to be able to make that interesting. So I think, like I said, the idea of it is interesting. It's just there's nothing overly unique about this one compared to other ones that we've seen in the actual Jurassic franchise, you know?
Yeah.
It's strange. I like how they put the majority of the action, especially with the main cast, actually in a forest location with dinosaurs again.
Yeah.
Because Fallen Kingdom, again, while I commend its boldness, it is dinosaurs running around a house and it just doesn't hit the same.
No, like I get they were trying to do some fun kind of like horror type things, which is cool, but it's just
Yeah, and at times, I mean, Billy says it there, the movie suddenly turned into Mission Impossible at one point. I felt like it half felt like a Bond movie.
I mean, yes, like I was getting Jason Bourne vibes. I was also kind of I was telling Morgan that like I recently have been to Universal Studios. I went to the Waterworld stunt show and just kind of like the storyline of that whole segment of getting getting information on where to find Maisie. That all felt kind of like a Universal stunt show almost. Just kind of the action set pieces and like the dossiers and
Yeah.
our OG Jurassic World kind of workers now they're kind of working with the FBI and like all of that kind of espionage thing felt very much like something you would find on a kind of stunt show script, uh, or studio show kind of on Universal ride kind of script.
Yeah.
Uh, so that's what kind of those scenes kind of leading up felt like. But people kind of were talking about there were like 20 different storylines going on. I felt like it was very distinctive.
No, there was two
The
storylines
new
going on.
cast, yes, there's literally two storylines going on. Our OG cast is doing one thing, our new cast is doing another thing. Claire and Owen are trying to get Maisie back. This is the path they're taking to get there. Um, Ellie and Alan and Ian are trying to figure out what's happening with these locusts and take down Bison. That's what's happening on their path. So it wasn't like 20 different things. It was very easy to kind of see this story and this story, and Bison being the key to bring them all together. What Bison in general was kind of just, he was,
It is.
Dodgson was terrible, but I liked having a key point that was going to fit with both stories and bring them together. I liked that story structure.
Yeah,
So
I felt the story structure worked. I don't think there's anything particularly. Well, it was a good mustache,
it was
Billy.
a
It was
very
a
good
good
mustache.
mustache.
Yeah.
I don't think there's just anything particularly different about it.
Yeah.
It
A
felt
good
very
point
run
here
of the
too as
mill.
well. Yeah.
What's late to the party saying here? Dodgson was basically James Halliday from Ready Player One, but without the greatness of Mark Rylance. He should have been a cunning businessman, like in the Lost World book. Yeah, he was very generic as a
Yes,
villain.
and I heard like Bison and him like really played a big part in the book. So the fact that they kind of reduced him to like this just weird guy, and yeah, like again with his relationship with Ramsey, like that all just didn't really play very well. It made him look kind of stupid for being a very smart person.
It definitely felt like they were just trying to make him out to be one of these tech billionaires as well.
Yes, I think people have made some comparisons to a tech guy. I can't remember like what I don't know if he's like the Apple person or somebody, but yeah, like somebody has made a comparison to like one of those kinds of
He came across as though he was playing a tech billionaire.
Yeah.
And I again, it's a concept. I enjoy it's a villain type that always is going to work.
Yes, Tim Cook.
And
Yeah.
okay. And the genetic playing God wanting control aspect, like I said, is always going to be an interesting enough villain motivation.
Yeah.
There was just something missing from the movie, and I think it was following on from the boldness of Fallen Kingdom. And Fallen Kingdom, like I said, is far from a perfect movie. And I actually think I enjoyed this movie. I had more fun with this movie than I did with Fallen
I did
Kingdom.
too.
But I just wish I would have had that fun with more of a understandable continuation.
Yeah.
And I don't think I got that. And by all means, still bring all three of the original cast back, because, like I said, they make this movie incredibly enjoyable.
Yes. Well, let's get into talking about the legacy cast because they
Yes.
were my favorite part. Every time I saw them, I got a dopey smile on my face.
You know what I hate, though? You know what I
What?
hate, Jeannine?
What's that?
And this happens with legacy sequels all the
Oof.
damn time. And oh my god, do I despise every time it happens. And you know which legacy sequel didn't do it and was all the better for it?
Oh, yes.
Top Gun Maverick.
Yeah.
Top Gun Maverick fully embraced doing this that I'm about to bring up, and this movie did it in the exact same way that most of them do. It's they try to use the original theme from the very famous original theme, but never quite actually
Yes.
do it.
They change a couple chords right at the end. You hear the first like 3 major notes and then it like chord shift or something.
It happened 4 or 5 times in this movie where you just felt it go dun, 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 and just finish the theme. Just go into the theme movie. Just do it. Michael Giacchino seems to be an absolute star at teasing everybody with a movie and a franchise's original theme, and I'm sick to death of it, Jeannine. Just use the original
Yeah,
theme.
you get excited because, like, yeah, there was a little moment when they were all together and you thought you were gonna hear it, and
I
then it's
just
like,
want a big fanfare.
yeah, and they just like,
Use a big fanfare.
yeah, it was a
Top
little,
Gun did it.
yes,
Top Gun was all about Top Gun Maverick opened with Danger Zone, full all out Danger Zone.
yes,
Halloween even does it, as much as people like to hate on the new Halloween movies, but that opens big credits, full Halloween theme.
yeah,
And this and there's loads of other ones that do it. I think
yeah,
Terminator, the last Terminator one tried to use the Terminator theme as well, but never quite got
quite
there.
got, yeah, they just changed like a couple chords right before you kind of get into the meat of the familiar theme. Yeah.
This was
So
so
yeah, like
annoyingly
you
done,
thought
though.
you would get more of that when these people came on screen, but
Really, you did.
yes.
I don't think enough. Maybe I'm used to these kind of movies being a certain way. I don't even think enough fanfare was paid to introducing people like Alan Grant and Ellie. You know,
No.
I just think they kind of just appeared, and
I
you
mean,
almost want
aside
it to
from
be a
some,
huge, big,
yes. But aside from some
fancily
like
shot
interesting,
spectacle.
well, you get some like interesting camera moves of like zooms and like, these looks, but um
You do a few times, but you just want a "Du, du, 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 du," and it's Alan Grant, and he's wearing his
yeah.
hat, and you just want that.
And I have to say,
Unsatisfied.
Sam Neill, he was 46 in that first movie. Like he looks pretty damn good in this movie. Like
He does, to be fair to him, yeah. He doesn't look as good as Goldblum does.
no, I mean,
Goldblum
they
looks
all 3 of them looked
ridiculous.
great, but
I mean, that's true.
it was kind of just crazy to me. He was 46 in that movie, like, he was almost 50 in that first movie, and he still looks great. He's still kind of just getting into the, everything and, has a
Yeah,
little romance.
he didn't feel like he was in his mid-70s
No.
at
He looks
all.
great. He had a lot of fun. He felt like that same character. I liked kind of the little teases of, their relationship, him and Ellie, because like,
Yeah.
yeah, we knew they were together, but we never saw them be completely romantic, which I think for the time kind of worked because there was a lot of talk about their age difference. But even in that time, which Laura Dern I think has addressed now, she's like, well, in the moment, like that was kind of just the thing that was done. Like you had your older actors always being cast across a younger female lead.
Yeah.
That was just how casting worked. But there was like a 20-year age gap. I think she was 26 and he was 46 in that first movie. So like it was fine that they weren't like showing them kind of, overtly romantic with each other. So to kind of see that now, this matured version of them and kind of looking back and asking the questions, well, are you with anybody? Are you with anybody? Oh, and
Yeah.
then, you're gonna come with me, like, and having those conversations. it was kind of just like the perfect time to finally see, what was established so many years ago, but kind of just not really kind of delved into as much. So,
But how much did they play up Goldblum's sexiness?
oh
Because
yeah, like people probably thought it was terrible, but I love what you said. Oh yeah, he slid into my DMs. Like
I mean,
I
people do hate that, and I
I
wanted
kind
to
of
a
thought
little
it
bit
was
vomit
funny.
myself.
I thought it was funny. It made
But
me laugh.
you do
But
imagine Goldblum doing that sort of
well, I mean, when he was
thing.
doing all that thing with pouring the water on her hand and like I was like, okay, she
Yeah.
was she was into it. So yeah, like he definitely and like I loved the moment where he, his shirt was kind of unbuttoned and he kind of references like, "Oh, I got a little too many buttons down." Like I was into it 100%. So
I just think it's clear that Jeff Goldblum really takes good care of himself.
he does.
Like unbelievably so. I also think it's enjoyable. He's playing himself up a lot.
Yeah.
Like he's over Goldbluming to a ridiculous degree
Him
sometimes.
just like making random commentary. So there's a dinosaur on your back. So you made a promise to a dinosaur. So like just
Everything is just very strange to me. I don't quite know how to
yes, he was great.
explain is something happening over here. It's like just calm it down a
Yes,
little bit, Jeff.
Goldblumisms in full effect. I mean, I was 100% here for it.
I mean, I'm here for it. I enjoy it. I do. It just sometimes felt a little bit. Yes, sometimes you have to try and feel like you're being genuinely heartfelt, Jeff,
Yeah,
and not just all frazzled all the time,
yeah.
and just, oh, I'm not quite sure what's going on over here. Oh, there's something going on over here as well. The dinosaurs have to be, what is it they have to be? It's just like, oh God, we're trying to. It takes about 4 years to say anything,
Yes.
and all you want him to do is that scene where
When
he's
I saw
trying to open up the mine.
I really thought the code was gonna be like the year the first movie came out
I
or
know, right? I
something,
was
but yeah, I
expect
was
just put
waiting for that.
1993 in. Just put
Yes.
1990. It's going to be that.
But also again, like when we get into talking about new characters, I'm just like, this
Mm.
Ramsey dude is literally watching this happen on a monitor and no one else is noticing this. No one else is around. Like
I don't think. Look, I think if we think too much about people in this movie, we'll lose our minds. It is
yes.
and this is what the Jurassic World movies are, and what I don't believe the Jurassic Park movies were. These are big dumb action movies. And I
Essentially.
don't think even Jurassic Park 3, I don't think any of them were big dumb action movies. I think they were mostly adventure movies. There's
And
very little
inherently still
adventure.
focused on the dinosaurs chasing people and
Yeah.
being in the jungle or being where,
And the wonder of
being
dinosaurs.
on the turf of the dinosaur and the
Yeah.
dinosaur chase. And this one is like kind of
The
opening
amazement.
up the scope and bringing them into our world. And so yeah, I think kind of bringing the old cast back to kind of see how they deal with some, because like their whole situation that was very probably traumatic for them was a very contained situation. So to see how it's like to blown up to actually have opened a park and how that kind of was like what they all foresaw in that first film, and how now they have to kind of deal with it and how they're kind of brought back into it. I think they did a good job of giving them a plausible reason for coming back.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, Ian Malcolm does say in this movie, I think he says something like, "Oh, Jurassic World, not a fan, not a fan of that."
yes.
Um, were you not? That's a shocking
Yeah, he gives a
thing
very
to
Jeff
say.
Goldblumish like FU speach to
No.
Dodgson. Yeah. So, yeah, I think they were all really great, and their chemistry even kind of worked well when they came together with the new cast. Their
Yeah.
chemistry with each other was just still kind of just shining so very bright. So, I was happy every time I saw them on screen and their kind of input in the story, and I thought the way they brought them in was great. So I
Yeah.
have no problem with anything kind of with the new cast, with the legacy cast at all.
No, not with them in particular. No, I almost feel as though my one potential issue is that I don't think the movie treated them as the heroes they are to this franchise. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think, oh, it's old characters. I was expecting more fanfare and spectacle with them.
I mean, we got some moments of the new cast kind of like recognizing who they were and
Yeah,
kind of fanning over them a little bit, but you always want more for them because they were part of something huge and like the best movie in this whole crazy thing that we've seen up to this point.
yeah. And I'm
So,
always watching Jurassic Park as a child. I love dinosaurs as a
yeah.
child. So I was always into Jurassic Park. I watched Jurassic Park 3 more times than I've watched Jurassic Park.
I mean, rewatching it again, like that movie is so dumb and so fun.
I
Like just
enjoy Jurassic
dinosaur
Park
chase
3 a
after
lot.
dinosaur chase. Like you don't care about any of these people. They're terrible. You just want to see the dinosaurs and the Spinosaurus and yeah, Jurassic Park 3 is really fun.
The good thing about it though, if you wanna talk a little bit about the dinosaurs themselves, Jeannine, the good thing about the Jurassic Park movies is that the dinosaurs they're actual dinosaurs, for
Yes,
one.
I mean, why was there
That's a
hippogriff
start.
in this movie?
The dinosaurs in and do you know what? Since I first watched Jurassic World last week, I've thought this. I've thought this for a whole week,
Why did
Jeannine.
we get a fight between Fox and Buckbeak in this movie?
I don't know. I don't know why all of a sudden it turned into there was a hippogriff in the movie. I don't know. I can't explain that. And I also can't explain why you think Jurassic Park movies, oh, the T-Rex. Oh, the T-Rex, yes, a perfectly real dinosaur that existed, that or every evidence is there that was a thing. Spinosaurus, same, yeah, same situation. Oh, but now no, because we have to go bigger and more ridiculous with it now.
More teeth is a line they kind of threw out
What
there in the
what
new
what
ones.
we have to do now is we have to splice genes, don't we?
Yeah.
And this has been a thing in Jurassic World as well. I would like to think I am old Alan Grant personified.
Yeah.
I like my pure forms of dinosaurs. I do not want to splice genes. Dinosaurs are to create new species of dinosaurs. Like, I'm sure dinosaurs can breed with other types of dinosaurs to create, hybrid offspring and that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. Like horses and donkeys making mules and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But splicing genes, creating new species of dinosaurs, and then giving them stupid names like Megatronosaurus and Super Giganotosaurus just makes me want to throw up.
Yeah.
Why are they called such
These
stupid
ridiculous
names?
Indominus Rex and Indoraptor and
What does
man.
Indo mean? What does Indominus mean? I don't think it means anything. Billy says Ian Malcolm has the best moment in the entire movie, and I would like him to explain what that
Which
moment
moment,
is.
yeah, more are you referring to? Really?
Indoraptor. Why can't it just be a Velociraptor? Because
Because
they're
it's
just
mixed
not
with the
deadly enough
Indominus
now.
Rex.
And the
Dinobots and Transformers are not far off.
well,
Yeah.
this is what I'm saying. It felt like something ridiculous out of Transformers. The moment with the fire. Yeah, I mean, look, Ian Malcolm looked ridiculously badass when he was
I know,
giving
and
it that
it harkened
fire.
back to the flare scene when
It
he was trying to
did.
draw the T-Rex away.
It
So
did. But it wasn't with the T-Rex, that one, was it? No, it was with the Gigaganta Fantastic Super Megasaurus.
that's a good name.
Definitely had Giga
Giga
in the
something.
name. Definitely had Gigatronosaurus or something like that. The greatest carnivore.
Yeah, like the
biggest
biggest
carnivore the world has
dinosaur.
ever
Yeah.
seen.
Which
Because the Tyrannosaurus Rex isn't big enough.
well,
Jeannine.
I also mentioned to you I was watching somebody else's review and they had said that the filmmakers actually made a comment referring to this dinosaur as the Joker of this universe, as a dinosaur who just wants to watch the world burn. Dinosaur.
I'm out. I'm out. I can't do any more. I'm out. I'm having nothing more to do with anything.
Yes, apparently the filmmakers referred to this dinosaur as the Joker of dinosaurs.
I don't trust Trevorrow and whoever else came up with Jurassic World movies.
Yeah.
I don't like the fact we got Jurassic World movies in the first place. I don't like the fact that the Universal ride changed from Jurassic Park to Jurassic World.
Yeah.
I wasn't. I don't see much emotion in the movies. In all three of them, I enjoy watching the dinosaurs. I enjoyed this movie watching that original cast. Sometimes watching the newer cast as well. You know, go up against the dinosaurs. There was some really well done action scenes.
Yeah, like with
really
the raptors,
well done
with the
suspense
lasers,
scenes.
and
Yeah.
where Mirage from in The Incredibles was putting lasers on everyone.
Yes,
They get chased
a
down.
really good action scene. A really well put together action scene. The scary moments in this movie. Admittedly, the final big dinosaur battle between the Hippogriff dinosaur, the T-Rex, and the Super Gigasaurus, or whatever it's called, is really. I got really into that. There's all fire everywhere. It's raining,
and
it's perfect.
I mean, we even got a little moment where the T-Rex stood in front of a circle and it was like
We
the
did.
logo.
We did. Which, yes, I have to applaud that. I mean, this is what we expect from legacy sequels. So I have to applaud it. But there's very little emotion. There's very little of that indescribable wonder and amazement that you got from Jurassic Park.
Oh, so you're talking about emotion in terms of
I'm talking about the
dinosaurs?
I'm talking about an audience's emotional reaction.
Okay.
That's what I'm talking about. I just don't think there was any of that. My screen that I watched this in was busy and there was little reaction to anything.
Really?
Not like Top Gun a couple of weeks ago. Everybody was giving it the big one with Top Gun.
And it's like, that's like such an American movie. And so for like
British
people to go see it and just be like, yeah.
But it was really like, oh, like you felt everybody just sat there like that, going like that whenever anything was happening.
Yeah.
And this was just like, people just sat there watching the movie. And it just felt like it should have been bigger than that.
Yeah.
Should have meant more than that.
I get that.
So that's where I think that's where my issue with these Jurassic World movies is that they just don't capture what its original movie captured.
Yeah.
And arguably you'd say Top Gun Maverick is a far better made movie than Top Gun.
Yes, definitely.
I think it's way more impressively made movie.
I do like the sequence with Claire when she kind of lands after the plane crash and and kind of hiding from that dinosaur. Also she got some like Aquaman level stunt scenes, rooftop jumping, Jason Bourne rooftop to rooftop kind of situation, running away from the raptors. So yeah, it was fun seeing her get to do more action stuff as well.
It was. Look, it
felt very much like Mummy Returns to me, in that like maybe Owen kind of taught her more kind of like fighting and so she can, stuff she could be prepared for rough situations. How Evie kind of learned to fight and be more tough and badass in Mummy Returns. It felt very much like I was getting those kinds of vibes of Claire kind of getting in there more and doing more stuff. So,
and this is what I mean, Billy. I think there was plenty to enjoy, but you're not going away from it filled with anything. You're enjoying what you've watched, and then you come away feeling that was a movie I watched and you just want it to be way more than that. And you
And
especially want
it
this
should
one.
have been. It should
You
have been.
especially
Yeah.
want this one to be way more than that because you've got Alan, Ian, and Ellie back all together doing stuff with dinosaurs. And Jurassic Park is an enormous movie.
Yeah. I don't think we've done The Mummy as a watch along.
We've
have
not
we?
done The Mummy as a watch along at all. No,
We should.
it'd be a good watch along. I know you.
Well,
You're a big
yes.
The Mummy fan.
I
like The Mummy. I do like The Mummy. I do. I can't help but not like The Mummy.
So good.
But yeah, I hope you understand kind of where I'm coming from with it all.
I do. Because this movie like had everything, like again, like I said, everything but the kitchen sink kind of thrown in this movie. You had your kind of Jason Bourne action adventure thrown in there. You had the legacy sequel you were dealing with. You're also trying to bring some comedy in there. You're supposed to have a villain who's really trying to kind of destroy the world, like in a big way. You're kind of trying to deal with the things that were set up in the last film. So you're kind of trying to do a lot of things. I appreciate that they were able to kind of streamline those things into two kind of distinct storylines.
Yeah.
But, you know, in doing that, you do lose a little bit of the kind of the emotional aspects, and they try to inject those in there with the kind of Maisie and Charlotte thing and you know,
It just
Owen and
felt very
Claire.
little.
Owen and Claire trying to, like, you know, be the parents to her and you know, those kinds of beats that I think they were trying to get the emotion out of you. But none of these movies, you know, you just have to kind of resign yourself to the fact none of these movies are going to give you the wonder of that first film. Like you're not gonna,
no.
It's never gonna be replicated. So, you know, you kind of got to take what you get and kind of appreciate what they were trying to do and what they were going for, because there was a lot I think that worked for me in just watching this movie that I had a lot of fun with. So
yeah, well, like I say, I did have fun with it. I did enjoy the movie, but you are entirely right. There's just I wanted to feel far more emotion than I felt, and
yeah,
I
like
understood when they were trying to put that emotion in, but it
like
just
you're
didn't
seeing that cast
work.
together again, and you think that's going to be everything you need to have you feel those original feels from that first movie, and when it doesn't happen, you're kind of like, oh, I wanted more. But I know when I saw them together, I had like goofy smiles on my face, like,
oh yeah, I'm sure.
So good to see you back, you know.
It is. It is. It very, very much is. It's just, I don't know. I think to kind of round off our live discussion today, we might talk a little bit about any potential future in the Jurassic franchise.
I mean, I don't think
sure it has.
I don't think they need to go any further than this movie. I think they threw whatever they could in this movie. I think they tied up storylines for sure with this movie.
They did.
So I think
story-wise, it was a good final point.
Yes, everybody kind of got their little send off of what their story was supposed to be, and I think that was really great. So I mean, I had fun with this movie. I think it was a big kind of summer, kind of big dumb blockbuster of a movie that I had a blast with. And I don't really need to see any more. I don't know where they could go from here.
No, I don't know where they could go from here.
They tied a nice little bow on it, and I don't see anywhere else they could go. So
they certainly can't do anything bigger, and that just seems to be their obsession.
Yeah,
is doing things bigger, and what you're going to do now? You're going to do what Fast and Furious did and put dinosaurs in space, or you're going to cross over with Fast and Furious? You probably could do that. I think
they're both Universal.
They're both Universal.
Yeah.
Crossover with Fast and Furious, make it really stupid. But please, for the love of God, don't do that.
Yeah, I'd be into it.
Don't do that.
I do kind of want to talk a little bit about the new characters, because we got, you know, a standout.
Yes, okay.
For sure. So I've been talking a little bit about that Ramsey character. Like the relationship they set up with him and Dodgson was really weird. I liked that he was kind of like this undercover spy character that was helping our leads throughout the story. But like, I wish they would have dragged that out a little bit longer, like, doors opening and them being able to get through places, and them being, guards being distracted away from them, and they're not sure who's helping them. And then it's kind of maybe revealed that it's Ramsey helping them the whole time. But the fact that he kind of revealed himself right away, he's helping them so much, and nobody's noticing with all this high security and all of these things, and
People are
nobody's
idiots in
noticing.
this movie, Jeannine.
And Dodgson is just so shocked that, like, oh, how dare you betray me, Ramsey?
It was
and
you.
yes,
I
it was
am
weird.
heartbroken.
Yeah, so like they didn't establish his relationship with Dodgson very well for Dodgson to be so reliant on him and trustworthy of him, because Ramsey proves himself to not be on Dodgson's side pretty quickly into the film. So if they had drug that out, showed him being very loyal to Dodgson, or setting up this thing that Dodgson like gave him opportunities when no one didn't, something to show that they had this strong bond, so that the turn, or the reveal would make more sense when Dodgson's so shocked that Ramsey betrayed him. I think it would have made more sense. But I liked Ramsey as a character. I liked kind of him kind of like sneakily helping them, but I wish they would have kind of revealed it a little bit later that dun dun dun, Ramsey's a spy who's not on Dodgson's side, and we thought he was the whole time or something. But the way they just kind of revealed him as a spy all along, and he just could like get away with like doing all of these things, and
late to the party says Ramsey was a perfect opposite of Dennis Nedry. Yes, exactly.
Yes, that is a great description. So
I was
liked
half
him as a
expecting
character
to see him in this movie.
Yeah, I mean, and then just throwing that Barbasol can in there for the sake of the nod that, oh yeah, this is Dodgson.
Yeah. You do get some what's its face? What are those dinosaurs? The spray venom dinosaurs.
Oh yeah, and then him
getting
the Ned Tree Death. Yeah, him getting the Ned Tree Death was kind of like, okay, I see. That was one of those callbacks that were just.
I liked that.
That was one of those callbacks that felt kind of a little too much for me.
No, I actually quite like that one. It's weird. Then, if that felt too much for you, I actually quite liked that. I always liked those dinosaurs, because I always remember going on the ride and then you get sprayed.
They spray the water, yeah. So I mean, if they hadn't set up those dinosaurs being around earlier in the film, I think it would have been worse. But because they did, I'm like, okay, I guess you just want to give him the same Ned Tree Death. But that felt like a little too much like naughty nod to the first movie.
The thing is, though,
a wink winky, and like, I don't know.
They're always good for a bit of a scare. They're always good for a bit of a scare. They can always jump out at you pretty effectively.
But that for me, DeWanda Wise, she was. Like, every time she was on screen, she was such a badass. She was super chill. Like, I wanted more from her. She was just so cool and funny and gorgeous. And, like, I'm like, please, dark-skinned, melanated actresses are very talented people. Please give them more opportunities to do things, because they will prove you right every time. They will do the things.
Here we have another example of another one.
Yes.
Here she is. She's here.
Yes.
Use her in several things.
So
it is. I'm glad you reminded me about talking about the new characters.
I think there's that kind of idea to go for your digestible diversity with your lighter skinned POCs and your mixed race people, because that's what people can relate to, but we're still checking that box. That's what it feels like when those casting things happen. No shade to those actresses, they are all very talented, but it seems like that's always kind of your thing when you want to like be diverse. Let's just
not wrong. You are not wrong.
So then you have these talented, beautiful dark-skinned actresses who are rocking culturally Black hairstyles and things like that, and you kind of avoid that because that's not relatable to people. So we don't see actresses like that. That's why I'm so excited about this Keke Palmer renaissance that's happening right now. So to see DeWanda Wise just be kind of a standout in this film and be this cool, badass character and funny and charming and gorgeous and just so damn slick and capable. It was really exciting.
You like competency in your movies.
Yes, competencer.
And I believe she showed a hell of a lot of competency in this
Yes.
movie.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. I'm definitely glad you reminded me to talk about these new characters, because I would have felt horrendous had we
Yeah.
not
I had
brought
I had to
her
talk
up.
about,
She
but like
was
no
a
matter what
great
people are
character.
saying, no matter what people are saying about this movie that's negative, everyone is saying DeWanda Wise is great, and they wanted more of her every time
Yeah,
she was on the screen.
yeah,
So yeah, I mean, I liked the new characters that were there. Ramsey, I think just his placement and his reveal of what he was doing could have been handled a little bit better. But I liked I liked that character. Just more POCs doing cool things and getting to be a
yeah.
part of that story, I think is always a great thing. And there are great actors out there to do these things. And so I'm glad that like this movie takes the opportunity to highlight that. So yeah, no
As you
shade to
say
the new
though,
characters.
the important thing is now is, where's her next movie? Where's that?
Yes. So I'm waiting to see her
That's
do
what
more
we want.
things because she is great.
And
And
she
that
can be
actor
she
like
can be a hell
Ramsey.
of an action star as well. She's shown
Yes.
perfectly well in this movie.
Yeah, definitely.
Completely
Um,
badass action star. She doesn't have to be running around with dinosaurs. She doesn't have to now just be put into the presumably non-existent future Jurassic World movie.
yeah. So I mean, hopefully she can do other cool things because yeah, I mean, I think this tied a nice little bow on everything we've seen thus far, and I don't
Yeah,
know how you could continue the story unless you actually decide to explore dinosaur human interactions that you kind of should have probably done before you got to this point. Um,
yeah, but who knows?
yeah.
Who knows? I don't think you need to do that, because I don't know what avenue that opens
Yeah.
at this
And
point.
then, you
It could
know,
open an avenue where it already feels a little too different to Jurassic Park to me. But it to open that of dinosaur human interactions, is it not just then you almost turn it into some sort of some story that's completely different, where it's coexisting. It's a
yeah.
story about coexistence. It's a story about, it's like, um what's it called? District 9.
Yeah.
It's something, you'd end up making it something like that,
Yeah.
and then it just becomes, there's no point in it being a Jurassic movie anymore.
Because it's got something completely different. Um, so yeah, I don't know. I don't know about these movies kind of continuing on. I think, if you were gonna do the story of seeing how these dinosaurs being out in the world was affecting the world and
Yeah.
how like, these black market people are taking these dinosaurs and things like that, this was the movie to do that. And then the next movie would be something like this. I think
Yeah.
they skipped an interesting thing that I don't think they can now go back and do. So,
We have in the
um,
chat maybe the next Dinotopia.
yes, hi, Darty. I believe that is Mr. Machine. So,
Oh, it
hello.
is. Oh, hello. Hello, how are you? Dinotopia. I'm not even familiar with Dinotopia. What's Dinotopia?
um, I think it was a show, like an older show where, yeah, dinosaurs were just kind of in the world type thing, if I
Well,
remember correctly.
by the sounds of it, then we've already got where Jurassic World could go in the
Yeah.
future. We've already had it in another thing,
Yeah.
so let's just have that and stick with that.
Yeah.
Basically, I don't know, craziness.
Yes. And then Henry Wu, like just briefly to touch on, what
He's always there.
he like
He always
had this
shows up.
he had this like kind of sudden shift. Like he seemed very content with creating these things that were going to do crazy things to the world, and he helped make these locusts, and then all of a sudden he's super conflicted, and it seemed very much like this weird Claire kind of automatic, like, turn of, what we're doing is wrong.
Yeah.
I'm sad about it. And he's just very sad Woo.
Sad Woo. How on the nose do you think it was, though, that it was locusts and they're talking about playing God?
Yes.
Is our
right?
next thing a plague of frogs just to annoy you?
No,
I want that.
no.
Can we have that,
No,
please?
no.
In fact, if they're going to do another
Terrifying.
Jurassic World movie, please make it the exact same movie, but instead of
Please.
locusts,
You're
it's just
so mean.
frogs,
You're
just
so
for Jeannine.
mean. Just stop. Just stop talking. You're a terrible person. No, thank you.
A Dinotopia 2-part movie where people coexist with
Jesus with
dinosaurs. Okay.
dinosaurs. So yes, I think this would have been the movie to do that. I think it's kind of a little too late to kind of go back to that now, but
Yes.
but yeah, I mean the story we got, big fun action summer movie. It just made me feel like, a kid in the 90s, a kid in the, a teen in the early 2000s going to the theater in the summertime and watching a big overblown movie with everything in it and just feeling that excitement and fun from it. And that's what I got out of this movie. Like,
Yeah,
yes,
and that's where it's at
some
its best.
there were some weird, story choices, some sloppy things, but that's kind of what you got in your big kind of summer blockbusters.
It's
Not
true.
everything made sense, not everything was
Very
smooth
true.
and clear cut. Everything had its little plot holes. Are we really looking for some strong, sensible logic in a film about dinosaurs?
Probably not. But we got it in
It
Jurassic
does,
Park.
it does veer away from kind of what the original was, but you've established these new things in these new movies, so I think it still kind of feels like it's part of the bones of of what we've gotten so far with Jurassic World.
Yeah.
So I had fun with it. I loved seeing the legacy cast. I love seeing their kind of storylines get a nice little bow. I loved seeing, the two storylines come together, our old and new cast come together. I think they worked well together in this whole kind of team up of them trying to, work together to figure things out and get off the island was a really kind of fun situation. And then seeing all of them together kind of hide and fight dinosaurs was a really kind of fun thing. So I mean, that whole kind of last part where the storylines come together, I think was probably the funnest part for me.
100%.
So
Yeah, 100%. I think the
yeah,
best way of describing is the movie's a total mixed bag.
yeah.
And it really is.
So
Really
yeah, I
is.
mean, people are really hating it, but I feel like
I
people are
don't
just
think. Yeah.
people are just kind of forgetting what the summer blockbusters was.
I
I
think if
feel
you're
like
hating it, it's a bit extreme.
yeah,
It's nowhere near that level.
no,
It's
definitely
nowhere
not.
near that level. It's just it's not at the you care about it level that you want it to be at,
Yeah.
which is a big shame.
Because, like, for
Really.
me, watching, like, something like the Ghostbusters Legacy sequel, I cried. I got all the
Yeah.
feels and I felt the emotion, at that emotional connection going all the way back to 1984's original film. This movie was not bringing any tears or anything like that. It brought joy, it brought, like, great nostalgia, but it didn't find one little piece of something to take me back to 1993,
Yeah.
So and that's kind of maybe what some people were hoping for and just didn't get that. So I kind of get that aspect of it.
Exactly.
So yeah, but like if you are a millennial like me, like think back to seeing something like Mortal Kombat in the theater for the first time. That movie is ridiculous, but so fun to see.
Should we do the music?
Yeah, when we did our
Do
watch
it now.
along
Do it
of
now.
your
Do it now. Do it now. Do it now. Do it now.
you had liked that music.
I did.
Funny.
It was a vibe.
But yeah, like this literally just kind of took me back to summers of just seeing these kind of big ridiculous movies and having fun with them. Like, yeah, Con Air makes no damn sense at all,
No,
but
it
I
doesn't.
had so much fun watching that movie.
You're right.
On a big screen, and that's just where my head went to immediately. But to each their own in their opinions. It's just crazy that people are just like, this is terrible, man. This movie makes no sense. The story structure is man. Just really kind of doing this deep dive, which, yeah, I mean, that's what we do with movies now. And I think that's fair. I just, I think there are some movies that are just trying to just have some fun. And this movie, I think, was one of those kinds of movies. So,
well, Jeannine, that is why we have been here doing our full spoiler discussion on
yes.
Jurassic World Dominion to give our thoughts, and I think we've done that in an understandable fashion.
Yes,
I would say so. Well, Jeannine, we do occasionally do these live discussions on this particular YouTube channel when there is big movies, big TV coming out. We also have watch-alongs on this YouTube channel as well. Late to the party say we still listen to the Mortal Kombat soundtrack at least once a week while we drive.
Yes,
Oh, I wouldn't
it's
listen to it while I'm
great.
driving. I'd be way too intense. I'd be going at like 90 miles an hour everywhere.
And realize, oh my gosh, I'm going that fast.
Zoom. It's exactly what you'd be doing. Chill out in the car. You need relaxing music in the car. That's what my playlists are.
Yeah.
Chilled out. They are Mortal Kombat soundtrack in the car. Anyway, watch-alongs we also have on this YouTube channel, don't we, Jeannine? They are always fun. But the daddy, the granddaddy of this YouTube channel now, I suppose, is the new show, Monday Madness, in its full glory video format on this YouTube channel. Please subscribe, ding your notification bells to us on here for Monday Madness every week. These live discussions, the watch-alongs, other fun videos we have here as well. We mainly do, of course, live on the It's a Wonderful Podcast audio feed, which you can find on Anchor, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, Castbox, Amazon Music, everywhere damn else you get your podcasts. Monday, Wednesday, Friday on there. Monday with the audio version of Monday Madness. Wednesday with Morgan Hasn't Seen, where Jeannine forces me to watch things I haven't seen. It's really that straightforward. And Friday with the main show, It's a Wonderful Podcast, where we celebrate old movies, we show them love, we discover new ones. It's always fun on the main show as well. We have the Patreon. You have seen it running down the bottom of the screen. If you would like to become a patron, there is a link in the description for that. There is also a donation link in the description if you would like to donate there. We do not ask for any of this. We simply state that it is there if you are feeling particularly generous. But we would love you forever.
Yes.
And that's true. On Twitter, they've been going across the bottom as well, but you can find the show at It's a Wonderful One. Me at the Purple Don with a 3 instead of the E in there because, Jeannine,
3 is the magic number.
On Instagram at just the Purple Don. And all your dinosaur related stuff is where?
You can find me at Jeannine DeBean _ on Twitter, Jeannine DeBean on Instagram and TikTok. If you want to get any merch for any of our shows, you can find that at our new Teespring shop. It's a Wonderful Podcast on teespring.com. And if you want to purchase any of my art in print form, you can find that at my Big Cartel shop, g9design.bigcartel.com.
Yes, there we go. I mean, I would ask you to do it in an impression of a dinosaur, but I think that would probably kill your throat.
I mean, I did a raptor sound.
I think you did actually,
when
didn't
we
you?
did our Jurassic World, and it kind of broke your ears.
Yeah, it was terrifying. I forgot about that. I blocked that out of my mind. I don't know.
So, yeah, I guess.
Do an impression of Goldblum.
I was like, he's gonna say it. He's gonna make me say it. 3, 2, and 1.
Bye.
And no one ever asks me about my T-Rex when I wear this shirt.
What? Oh, for God.